watch this video. Wait, let's promote the channel. I want to promote the channel. So the channel, this channel, what is? Oh, the name of the lady is Darling Leonga. Darling Leonga. I want to show you her video. This is the lady. Wait, this is her YouTube channel. You can actually subscribe to her YouTube channel. She's quite informative. She doesn't try to push propaganda. Hello, Solomon. Hello, Solomon. Ding, 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 ding. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Oh. Wait, I need to play this video. I need to play this video. I need to play this video before. Okay, I have 1 hour. That's good. I have 2 hours. That's good. I have to play this video. Okay, so this is a video by what is the name? I will show the video of the lady. I mean the YouTube channel of the lady. Her name is Darling Leonga. Hello. So we're going to listen to this lady and try to learn a thing or two about Africans and South Africans.
Contrary to what you're seeing on the media, South Africans are not xenophobic.
When we are telling you to go and build, you find that offensive. What is xenophobic about telling an African migrant to go build their country?
It is either we hate South
So
Africans
this is the
or we're
lady.
jealous of them. Because if not, tell me why it is not okay for them to deport illegal immigrants in their country, but it's okay for other countries to deport illegal immigrants in their country. You know what I'm talking about this? The recent news or the update from Ghana is that some military officers from the Ghana Immigration Service have been deployed. They are right now on the street, particularly in Accra and Kumasi. Now they're arresting illegal immigrants and beggars, right? And the report says that over 600 illegal immigrants have been arrested. Now they are definitely going to be deported to their respective countries. Now when you go through the comment section, oh this is good, this is nice, and then the comments from South Africans, it got me thinking. When South Africans do the same thing, right? They have not even started deporting these people, mind you. These people are even yet to be arrested, right? Now, Ghanaians were the first to come out to say that, oh, you know, the excuse that we always use, that these countries always use against South Africans is we helped you guys during the apartheid or we contributed money. So my question is this: other African countries did not help Ghana when they were going through a lot. Nigerians in particular, because now they're focusing on Nigerians. Nigerians, you have to leave Ghana. Nigerians, you have to leave Ghana. We don't want you here. You know, they accuse them of all the crimes, all the bad things happening in Ghana. So the question is this: Nigerians have never helped Ghana before. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Now they're even asking Ghanaian landlords not to bring your properties to illegal immigrants or to foreigners. So the question again is it only South Africa that the whole of the African continent helped? Make it make sense. Now let's take a look at Uganda. As of now, Uganda is equally deporting illegal immigrants. I think more than 300 of them have been arrested already, and still, and as well, they're going to be deported to their respective countries. Now, nobody is talking about it. They are not calling that process xenophobia. But when South Africans do it, they are being xenophobic. And today, I want us to be very, very candid. Let's be very, very honest. Now let's talk about this Emmanuel as someone who was confronted. This young man who was just being questioned, right? I think that we blew things out of proportion. I'm not gonna beat myself up. Yes, we blew because if you watch that video keenly, they were just having an exchange, they were having a conversation. They were questioning.
Do you know this video? She's not lying. It blew out. I mean, it blew out of proportion. It even went as further as, like, the craziest part is the Ghanaian, like, minister said that he, in this video, there was some sort of violence, like this man was violated by South Africans. But if you watch this video, there was no violence. South Africans stopped this man, had a conversation with him, and based on my own perspective, I will say that it was a fruitful conversation, because he said, okay, although it was embarrassing, that one I can admit it was embarrassing, right? It was an embarrassing video. But at the same time, I feel like amongst Africans, this is the only language that sometimes we understand, because if we just don't address things, nothing changes. But then the more we address things, that's when we see change amongst Africans. That's what I'm saying.
When he presented his documents to this South Africans, it was discovered that he was there illegally. You know that, right? This is a video. He was there illegally. Now, as the case was progressing, right? This is one thing we noticed. Even the Ghanaian Foreign Affairs Minister, they discovered that indeed he was not there legally. And what did they do? They literally asked for they asked him to come back, right? Yeah. Now, the Ghanaian government asked for the young man to come back to Ghana. Are you getting me? Because they understood at the end of the day that this young man was in South Africa illegally. Now we talk about people who have been unalived in South Africa. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with us.
You know, this is the problem, right? This is another problem. The Ghanaian government later found out that the guy was indeed in South Africa illegally. But at the same time, another Ghanaian minister, he went on a national Ghanaian television, and there he announced that this man was harassed or violated somehow. But it's more like there is no coordination amongst these governments. It's like this minister says this, and then maybe the home affairs, I don't know what, if they call it home affairs also in that country. It's like they don't have coordination. They speak different languages, but then it's one country. It's like they don't communicate about what to address beforehand. They just go and address the nation. Hence, it's the same thing that is happening in Nigeria right now. The ambassador in South Africa, he did say there is no xenophobia in South Africa. Nigerians are not being targeted, and Nigerians are not being killed. But then you watch a video of I don't know if they are ministers or what, but then it's in the parliament, and then this man, he stands up and he claims that South Africa is, or South Africans are terrorizing Nigerians. South Africans are beating Nigerians. So this is the problem. I think it is something that needs to be addressed also, because you cannot have the ambassador of Nigerians say there is no xenophobia in South Africa, but then in the parliament of Nigeria, you have ministers standing up, addressing the nation, claiming that there is xenophobia in South Africa. I don't think that is good for the nation. It is good for the country. I think it is better for them to come together and address the real issue and stop spreading propaganda or creating stories for whatever reasons may be. Doesn't matter. But then at the end of the day, if a government say different stories, they lose credibility, and that this is what is happening with Ghana and Nigeria, because the Ghanaian government, for example, because government is it's a lot of structures, right? We have the minister of foreign affairs who says something different, and then you have the ambassador of Ghana who is saying something else. It's the same thing with Nigeria. You have the ambassador of Nigeria. He's saying one thing, and then the Nigerian ministers in the parliament, they're saying a different story. So they need to communicate with one another to avoid misleading their people, because it's impossible that one government or one government say contradictory things. This one is saying there is xenophobia, this one is saying there is no xenophobia, but all of these leaders, they lead one nation. So I don't think that's a good thing, because it is happening in Ghana, it is also happening in Nigeria.
Solves. Has anybody been unalive? Yet there have been armed robbery. An Ethiopian was shot, but was he shot as a result of the protest? Did they in the hands of South Africans? Are South Africans the ones responsible for it? You know the answer. The answer is no. South Africans are protesting peacefully. Granted, I've been walking from one shop to the other, but if you watch all the videos, as you're seeing them now, they have been questioning, do you have documents? Why are you here? And most of them, they go to those shops, to those companies, to those businesses, right, that belongs to foreign nationals who are not treating their South African employees right. Now, there is this video I want you guys to take a look at where these South Africans, they called a lot of business owners in South Africa. If you take a look, they're mostly white. Now, they were questioning them, like, how is it possible that you have a business, that you own a business in South Africa, but you do not have any South African employee? It's wrong.
It is
Take a look at
wrong.
the video.
Able to hire South Africans because of these reasons.
Wait, so what you're basically saying is if two shops don't comply, you all suffer,
Yes.
and that's why.
Oh, the question was, if two shops don't comply, we all suffer. Okay, he was supposed to say no. He was supposed to say no there, because you cannot hold other people accountable for other people's actions. He was supposed to say no there.
That, that's why we said everything is owned because we've been speaking with the management.
Every country has rights that protects the interests of their citizens. To open a shop in Ghana, a lot of you know that. Even the Ghanaians are talking about it, right? No foreign national has a right to get into retailing. If you want to open a business in Ghana, you must become a wholesaler and you must have at most 20 Ghanaians working for you, isn't it? Ghanaians do not want that because that is their own benefit of being a citizen of Ghana. And that is the same right that South Africans are fighting for, isn't it? So how is it that when you people do it, it is not a problem, but when South Africans do it, we call them xenophobic, or we say we accuse them
Double
of
standard.
xenophobia attacks. That
Double standard. It is something that has been happening for years now, and I think finally we see other Africans realizing this pattern. This is what has been happening for a decade, from 2008, when these marches against illegal immigrants started. Like immediately South Africans were called xenophobic, but like today you see that there are actually, let me not say some, right, but I just want to say like many Africans are starting to see that no, South Africans are not xenophobic, but there is some sort of propaganda that it is um getting spread, but for we don't know why personally, so I don't even know why, but she says something in this video which maybe it could be the reason why they are pushing this propaganda. She says something like, it could be that the African leaders themselves have realized that they failed their people, so they are taking or they are using like this kind of media stream xenophobia thing about South Africa to avoid accountability in their countries, and just claim that, oh, South Africans are xenophobic. South Africans hate Africans. This is what she said, something in between those lines.
that is totally unacceptable. Anyways, I want you guys to listen to one of, or I don't want to say South African. Yeah, he is from South Africa, but He's a true inspiration. He's a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, a businessman. We're talking about Vusi Temekwayo. Take a look.
You guys are aware of the issues that are taking place in South Africa at the moment, I'm sure. You're also aware of the tone, the language, and the texture of these issues. I want to make three absolute statements. The first is this. Contrary to what you're seeing on the media, South Africans are not xenophobic. Contrary to what you're seeing in the media. Statement sounds a blasty statement.
I feel like for me, let me say this, right? For me personally, so if I see this propaganda from Western media, it really doesn't bother me because yeah, it is Western media. There is nothing to expect from those people. But seeing it coming from African leaders, for me, it is quite I'll say disappointing. Seeing Africans push propaganda against South Africa, for me, it is disappointing. When it comes to Western media, it's the same thing with white genocide. It's like, personally, so to be honest, I don't even care. They can spread whatever they want to spread, those people. They are, like, their countries are falling apart. So they're just trying to deflect whatever it is that it is happening into their countries to South Africa. And also, there are many lobbyists when it comes to Western countries. Most countries they claim to be sovereign, but in reality, they're not even sovereign countries. Because let me give you a simple example, right? We have genocide in Gaza. What have they done? Nothing. So why would you even bother to be offended or to even take anything that comes from Western media seriously? I personally don't take anything that comes from Western media seriously. Like those people, they have made Palestinians to look like perpetrators in the genocide in Gaza for years and years. And you see this even in the United States. It's only now that you see a lot of like big influencers in the United States realizing what is actually happening in Gaza. Like all these years, people didn't know what was happening. I don't want to lie because you look at many people who supported Donald Trump, they have backed up now. The MAGA movements thing, everything is just falling apart right now. Like the people who endorsed Donald Trump right now, they some have come, to the public and apologized for endorsing Donald Trump. Some they were misled. That's what I can say. They were misled because the Western media, it is always about propaganda. I don't even understand why those people do what they do, but they do it. They do it. Like it's normal for them. For me, I don't get it. I don't understand. That is why I'm saying if it were the Western people, or if it was the Western media pushing the xenophobic propaganda, it wouldn't bother me. But I'm coming from African leaders, African media, African influencers. Yeah, it is disappointing. It's as if like they're trying to inherit this toxic Western media, and somehow they want to bring it to Africa for whatever reasons. I have no idea why, but they're doing it.
Of some of the things you would have seen online. I'm not saying that there are no xenophobic people in South Africa. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying.
But xenophobic also it's deep. Like you cannot hate people. Like you just cannot hate. Like irrespective of the color of your skin, you just cannot hate people. I will give you another example, right? And I feel like this is something that it is also happening today. The Israelis, right? The Israelis, right? So now it's not a propaganda, it's the reality. And, but then I will try to explain so that it doesn't seem as if I am defending the Israelis or whatever. But in each and every nation, right, in as much as the perpetrators like the Netanyahu administration and his supporters, something that I feel like as people we must not overlook is the fact or the reality that not all the Israelis support Netanyahu. Not all the Jews support Netanyahu and the Netanyahu government or the genocide in Gaza. They have, and another thing, Orthodox Jews. Orthodox Jews also, they are tend to be labeled. There are different kinds of Orthodox Jews. There are Orthodox Jews who have been protesting since since 1948, when these attacks against Gaza started, who have, because they have been, because they even refused to serve in IDF, the Israel military. There are Jews, like Orthodox Jews, who have been against the Netanyahu regime for years and years and years. But at the same time, there are those Orthodox Jews in support of Netanyahu. And now the problem today is that when we talk about Israeli, right, as a state, right? We say all the Israelis are the perpetrators, but that is not true. That is not true. There have been like Jews who were against apartheid, even in South Africa. There are Jews today who are also or have been against the genocide in Gaza. But the reality is that whoever is in power dictates what happens in the country. The minority or those who do not hold any power, they can protest, they can do this or do that, but the reality is that they don't have any power to make any difference. Even the UN doesn't have power, to say the least. It's okay. Do you think like those few Orthodox Jews protesting can make a difference, like in Gaza, if like the UN can't? So what I'm trying to say is that you cannot assume that the whole population is xenophobic, or the whole population is racist. It's like saying all white people are racist. We know that is not true. There are so many white people married to black people. Why would you marry someone you hate? That's insane. And even during apartheid, there were white people who fought alongside blacks against the racial laws. They were there. They were there. And that's just the truth. But then it is something that we don't really talk about. So I'm saying this because he was saying that you cannot say all South Africans are xenophobic, but there are some South Africans who may be xenophobic. I don't know, because for me, xenophobia is like it's hatred. It's like you hate someone, like you hate this person, you hate them. And if maybe South Africans were truly xenophobic, I'm telling you, they would be like killing maybe Africans every day. But we don't have those cases where you see Africans. I mean, you see South Africans like killing like their fellow Africans. We don't have that. It's just that they don't hate, or we don't hate our African brothers and sisters. It's just that we hate our government, and we are aware that our government use illegal immigrants to what to shadow, as a shadow or a shield, because the ANC understands, right? ANC understands that they are corrupt, and they have neglected their duties as the leaders of South Africa for years. ANC is very aware of that, and they know that having illegal immigrants in South Africa, it kind of blocks South Africans from dealing with them directly. As a result, you see South Africans now trying to get rid of illegal immigration, because it is this illegal immigration or illegal immigrants that are blocking them from addressing the big elephant in the room, which is ANC. You can't, like, they're like a shield. Like, illegal immigrants in South Africa are like a shield. They are like a shield for actual all the politics, not just ANC, for DA, for EFF, for all political parties in South Africa. They use illegal immigrants to kind of make South African not get to them, or make South Africans uh maybe forget that these people are incompetent, these people are corrupt. Because let me tell you something, right? On a daily basis, when a South African gets robbed, or when they get their phones snatched, right? Those crimes or petty crimes, perpetrated by our fellow Africans who usually are these illegal immigrants. So you understand, like they are like these political parties are very smart. They know that if we have these petty crimes happening in South Africa, our people are going to shift the focus on them. They are not going to even care about the Palapala case. You know, we don't talk about the Palapala case right now. We are all talking about the illegal immigrants. They understand, they're very smart. They understand. So that is why South Africans are furious that you guys we're not against you. Our government, it is using you to shield themselves from the corruption that they are committing. And you guys are allowing them. How? Because you guys are fighting us. Because they do. Our fellow Africans, they fight South Africans every day, call them names or do whatever that they want to do in South Africa. So that's the reality of South Africa.
The entire nation is xenophobic would be missing the point. There are 65 million people in South Africa. We have 11 official languages. We're one of the most diverse societies in the world. And even though that is the case, we get along with most people. If you go and look at the largest companies in South Africa and the CEOs or boards of those companies, you will find that the CEOs or boards or C-suite executives are many people from the rest of Africa.
You know, that is true, right? And I feel like this is something that many Africans will never even talk about. There are even universities. In universities, some of our, not most, some, because universities, they have rules and regulation. You cannot have like foreigners as like lecturers or teachers. Even in our universities, there are many Africans. I mean, many Africans from other African countries who are lecturers. But you will never hear Africans talk about that. Never. I don't know why. You'll never. You will never, never.
I felt that it was important for me to say that. The second point I want to make is this. I think that there is an agenda to turn us against each other. And I think we feed that agenda when we feed the noise and the fire. But what I'd like to think we can do is to reach across the divide, have actual conversations, understand what's happening, as they say in Kenya, kwa ground, on the ground, so we can find each other. And then the third point I want to make. I was in Ghana last week. I went to the Kwame Nkrumah Museum. While I was in the Kwame Nkrumah Museum, I learned that Kwame Nkrumah, the man who is arguably the liberator of Africa, the first liberated nation in the continent of Africa was Ghana, 1957. And the man who liberated that nation was removed from power through a coup by his own people. Then I started reading about the history of your own nations, and I learned that you've had several of your own coups.
It's the same thing happening in Nigeria today. Let's be honest. You see, they're busy pushing this xenophobic propaganda so that we don't have real conversations. Let's talk about the Nigerians who are getting terrorized in the north part of Nigeria. Let's talk about that. Who is killing the Christian Nigerians? It's other Nigerians. Who is kidnapping schoolgirls? It's Boko Haram, Nigerians. We don't talk about that. We don't have those kind of conversations. The Nigerian government doesn't even address that. They want to address fake things, fake things, so that people can shift their focus and talk about things that don't exist, like this xenophobia in South Africa. You will never, even among Nigerians on social media, it is rare that you will hear them talk about the real issues in Nigeria. They don't. They always deflect. It's like they want to find fake news, lean on the fake news, and just ignore what's actually happening in Nigeria. It's a lot going on in Nigeria. Like, there is a big nation, a nation of 250 million people. 60% of the population live in poverty. That's approximately maybe 200 million of Nigerians live in poverty. That is a serious problem. That is why we have many Nigerians migrating all over the world. Nobody's talking about that. It's 200 million. 200 million people live in poverty. I'm not saying 200,000, 200 million. We're not addressing that. And in South Africa also, we will always cry about Nigerians because the real problem, which is having a country where the majority of the population, which is 200 million, live in poverty, of course they're going to migrate. They're going to they will bother not just South Africa. They are going to bother the whole Africa and other parts of the world. It's 200 million people. They can spread across the globe easily so. Not just South Africa. Even Ghana, their neighboring country, cries about them every day. But we are not talking about why do we have many Nigerians all over the world. We have many Nigerians all over the world because their population is large. It's not like 65 million people in South Africa. 65 million people in South Africa, it means that if we were to have a large number of migration, it would be maybe 1 million. You see, it's different. But then in Nigeria, we have like 200 million people living in poverty. That means we're going to have 500 million Nigerians migrating all over the world. And nobody will have that conversation as to like, how can we curb this poverty in Nigeria so that we can have Nigerians enjoy their country and stop migrating in other nations because of poverty? Because again, when you are poor, you become susceptible to extortion, right? The criminal is the same thing is happening in South Africa. South African criminals use Nigerians to commit crimes. You understand? That's why when you read the news about Africans across the globe, it's always a Nigerian involved in some scandals. It's crazy. It's even from what is crazier about this when it comes to Nigerians is that there are even young ladies, Nigerian ladies, who leave Nigeria and go and you know, being a sex worker is not a bad thing, right? The what? The South African problem is the sub-Saharan African problem. It is the West buying and making terms of. Wait, I don't understand. You see this. You see, this is another problem amongst us Africans, right? When we were trying to address real problems, we all always want to include the West. We always want to include the West or put like the blame on the West. We have Dangote. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. The richest man in Africa, Dangote. That man is worth billions. Why would one person be worth billions? Why? And why do Nigerians always praise him? That man, he has the money that it was supposed to be spread amongst those 200 million people living in poverty. He has like basically he controls the economy of Nigeria basically because he has all the money of Nigeria. But Nigerians will never see any problem with that. No, they praise him. At times you'll even think that he's sharing his billions with them. I'm serious. Like if you see Nigerians protect Dangote, I'm not saying like it's bad that he's a billionaire, but at the same time, it's like having that kind of wealth, considering the condition of his country, I think is unfair. And also it is unfair because in most cases, if that wealth, if that wealth that kind of wealth was controlled by a white person, oh, we will be having this conversation all day long. Like, oh, white person, white person. But because it's Dangote, no one even talks about him. He's the richest man in Africa, not in Nigeria, Africa. But the Nigerians are always focused on those white billionaires in South Africa. Those white billion, those white billionaires in South Africa, they don't even have half of the money that Dangote has. That man is filthy wealthy, unnecessarily so, considering his count. I mean, the state of his country. I don't see any reason why he should be that wealthy.
What happened in the Congo, and I realized that Patrice Lumumba was removed by his own people. And I say all of that just to make
And Nigerians also are suffering because of their own leaders.
this simple point. We as a people have to do better, man. This Us as a people, dragging each other as a people, fighting each other as a people, swearing at each other as a people, calling each other names as a people. It has to stop at some point. And I genuinely hope that we can use the church as a platform to bring Africans together. Because we're different until we start worshiping under the same Christ. And so my hope for every single person in this room, I hope for every single one of you, is that you'd find the courage to be the light, just as you and I were instructed to be. Go out to the world and be a light to the world.
I love that speech. I don't find South Africans xenophobic. I don't think this is a xenophobia attack as proposed. Now, talking about Ghana still, right? Now, let's take a look at this video. So I'm talking, you're watching it.
Look at this video of Ghana.
Officers, they're arresting all these illegal foreigners, especially the beggars, to their vans. Are you seeing? Now they're holding weapons. They're even using sticks to push the women. Are you seeing it? Let's be very honest. If this had happened in South Africa, there would have been an uproar by now. Everybody would have been saying everybody would have been denouncing this. They would have said, oh, this action, the South Africans are being xenophobic. And boom, Ghanaian media would have started talking. Oh, look at the way they are treating our women. And what have these women done to you? These unarmed, innocent women. I mean, the narrative changes. But Ghana is doing it. Nobody's talking about it. Everybody's applauding. Yeah, this is the best way to go about it. Everybody knows, and the South Africans themselves have accepted and they've acknowledged the fact that their government has failed them. So let's stop using that excuse.
And it's true. It's true. Our government has failed us. It's not even a lie. And this is something that you don't hear Africans say about their governments. I don't know why. Like, I don't. You know, it's so funny to me sometimes to see Nigerians make fun of like Tinubu. It's like for them, it's always like, oh, let's make jokes and laugh about it. It's like it's fun. It's not funny. That person is your president. Do something, remove him or put someone whom you think can help you change your conditions. Like for them, it's I don't know, they just make joke. I'm not saying like, oh, those jokes are bad, but I'm saying like if you're going to laugh about it, then at least do something about it. It cannot be normalized that you have Tinubu as a president and he's not even helping the nation. Also, like sometimes I do wonder about like the policies in Nigeria. Like, how do you guys have like someone like Dangote with that kind of wealth? How is that even normal? I don't get it.
You should be using your government. It is not your right. South Africans have the constitution. The way Ghana is being governed is not the way South Africa is being governed. You're saying to each their own. In South Africa, according to their constitution, it is okay for the citizens to govern when their government fails them. So
That
that's
is
exactly
true.
what the South Africans are doing. They are governing. But
That
let's
is
be
true.
very honest. These people, it's true. There are one or two South Africans who have been doing, the abnormal, like for example, looting shops, but the majority of them, they have been marching.
But that's the thing about South Africa. Like that's the thing about it's like I don't know why. With us, right? We acknowledge everything. We acknowledge that our people loot. We acknowledge that we have rapists of our own, killers of our own, drug dealers of our own. One thing I don't get it is like why do other Africans, especially Nigerians actually, Zimbabweans, I see them, Mozambicans, I see them not so much. But Nigerians, they always protect the wrongdoings of their people. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, if a Nigerian gets caught selling drugs or doing human traffic or doing something bad, they defend that Nigerian or a fake pass. They defend them. I think that's what the problem is with Nigerians actually defending criminals. That's their problem. But in South Africa, we don't defend criminals. Like we are saying right now, our government is corrupt. Can Nigerians do the same thing? Do you think Nigerians can open their mouth and say our government is corrupt? Many of them would rather die than say the Tinubu government is corrupt. Never. They will never say that. For me, I don't understand.
They've been handing memorandum, even when the Igbo King situation broke out. If we're in Nigeria, that one would have been arrested by now. Let's be honest. His property would have been vandalized. We know what we're talking about. Nigerians will not take that lightly. You get it? But South Africans are marching peacefully. Even when they went to pay a visit to the Nigerian High Commissioner in Pretoria, South Africa, what did they do? They just wanted, they were singing. Then
And
they
it's here.
presented the memorandum. They literally read it out to the man and give the man a chance to talk. You're seeing the way they peacefully, that's what they have been doing. But now we go ahead to do our own, and our own is okay. And South Africans, it's not okay because we helped them during the apartheid. That was just an excuse. There's this video I watched where Jacinta said, when you talk about giving us money, we are grateful for the money that you handed to us, right? But how many of you died? How many of your parents died?
And this is something that, it's very sad, right? Recently, the South African troops, they withdrew from the Congo War. I read the article. It was, I don't know, months ago, a long time ago, and I think one of the reasons they withdrew the troops was because they felt as though they are fighting. I don't know. Like, I feel like they lost the objective of the whole fight. But now I'm saying that South African soldiers, they went to Congo. They fought alongside the Congolese. South African soldiers, I want to repeat this. South African soldiers fought alongside Congolese. They were there in flesh. I'm not talking about them giving the Congolese government money. They were there in flesh. They went there in Congo in flesh and tried to help with the situation in Congo. They went there. But now let's talk about apartheid, that our fellow Africans, they are always saying, we helped you during apartheid. There is no single African person who died in South Africa fighting against apartheid. Zero. They helped financially. Yes, that is true. But none, not a single one of them came to South Africa and fought. Okay, also, I do acknowledge that young people, right, which is very common, we see this even today. You see people protesting in their countries, let's say with the genocide in Gaza, right? People, the young people, they protest, or the old people, they protest in their country. They also showed us solidarity in that manner. We do appreciate that. I do appreciate that also, personally. So I do appreciate that. I do.
Families died. How many of you fought? Fighting is different. South Africans gained their independence through sweat, blood, and
And
tears.
that is
They
true.
literally fought. Some died, some were injured, some were dismembered. You see, for
Disfigured.
them to gain their freedom. And in all honesty, this people, they gained their independence for 1994. So those who were born in 1994 should be like 32 years old now, isn't it? 31, 32. This is how old South Africa is. And are they still truly free? Of course not. They are not truly free.
That's
There's
the
still a lot of
thing.
demanding.
That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes I feel like our fellow Africans are quite selfish because, they're always smoking us about land, especially, oh, they always smoke us about land and Orania. Those, like, jokes, oh, I think makes them sleep at night. You guys are lucky. You have your land as Africans. You have, like, everything in African countries except South Africa, it is owned by black Africans or just Africans. You own your land, you own your resources, you literally own everything in your countries. Black South Africans don't. They don't. Till this day, they're still fighting. Till this day, they're still fighting. But it's like, I feel like Africans are so selfish that they don't even care that, no, these people, they haven't fully gained their freedom. They don't care. I feel like Africans, they don't care. As long as they can come to South Africa and do whatever that they feel like they want to do, that's all that they care about. As long as they can come to South Africa and mock us and say, you guys don't even own nothing, you don't own a land, you don't own nothing. I think that's the only thing they care about. I think that's what they care about. Because they laugh at us, they mock us. You have lands. You have lands. You own your land. You can do something with your lands. You can really do something with your lands. China just um what do they call that thing? No, just announced the no tariff trade in like 53 African countries, except for one. I think the one country has to be Eswatini. The one country has to be Eswatini. You guys, you can take advantage of this situation and go back to farming. You have lands. You can go back to farming and trade with China. You can do that. You have lands. We don't.
Going on in that country, isn't it? So these people are still fighting, but now they have you. They have you to deal with. They have you. You brought in a lot of problems to solve.
True.
So I personally to come.
True. Our fellow Africans, they have brought so many. Like, can you imagine that we even have to fight against petty crimes like snatching phones? I mean, that's abnormal. I feel like our fellow Africans are very selfish, especially when it comes to South Africans. They are very selfish. There is no person who doesn't know that buying a phone is a mission for many Africans. Buying a mere phone is a mission. And then let's say you just bought your phone. You're just walking down the street. And then a Zimbabwean, out of nowhere, driving a car that they just hijacked the previous day, they just come or they walk behind you, they snatch that phone from you and run away. Not all South Africans can replace a phone immediately. There are still many South Africans living in poverty till this day. But like they don't feel for us, they don't care about us. Like it's like you don't care.
I do not believe that South Africans are xenophobic. I do not believe that South Africans are as bad as you all have put them out to be. You guys genuinely understand what they're going through. And what they're going through is something that you would never accept in your respective
True.
countries. I'm going to leave you with this video. Now, it's coming from Victoria, Africa. It's the young lady. She was among the South Africans who confronted or questions the Ghanaian man, Emmanuel Asamoah. And there was something she said, what is wrong or what is xenophobic in us asking foreign nationals to go and fix their country? What is xenophobic about that? So once again, I ask you, are South Africans truly xenophobic or they're just being hated?
I just said right now, the population of Nigeria, 250 million people, 60% live in poverty. 250 million people, 60% live in poverty. And you know what is said about Nigeria is that I feel like Nigerians are the most um, talented Africans, and Nigerians are the most they're the most talented Africans. I must admit, and they are the first actually Africans who usually like make a breakthrough or become successful internationally. Like look at Nigeria, for example. I mean, look at Europe, for example. Many look at football, just football alone. Many footballers in Europe are Nigerians. Look at African musicians across the globe. Many of them are Nigerians. But you ask yourself this one question: what has a single one of them done for their country? We have black coffee in South Africa. I'm just going to tell you about 1% black coffee. Do you know how many school shoes black coffee gift to South African kids every year? Have you ever seen like South African artists, even though they're not even internationally recognized, they always give back to their people? Why can't Nigerian people do the same? Why? Like, the worst part about Nigerians is that when they even make it, like, make it, I mean, when they become successful, they don't want to be Nigerians again. They don't want to be Nigerians again. It's like, I don't get it. They don't want to be Nigerians again. They hate being Nigerian. Suddenly, they don't want to be Nigerians anymore once they become successful. They don't give back to their people. They don't. Like, that's how you build a nation. It starts from one person becoming successful, and giving back to their people. That's how it's done. But Nigerians, they don't do that. Like for Nigerians, once they leave Nigeria, they're done with Nigeria and the Nigerian people. They don't care that we left millions of people living in poverty. They don't care. It's like they don't even have foundations. They don't have nothing for their people. They don't. I don't get it. I feel like at some point Nigerians, they just have to sit down amongst each other and try to teach one another that this country and our people can only get better if we amongst ourselves contribute in our economy or in the livelihoods of our people. They have to do that at some point. They have
Maybe
to.
being jealous. Let me talk in the comment section. I am Chama. You're better than me. Bye.
Imagine being able to. That's Africa for you. For me, I'm happy like to see that we do have, or there are Africans out there. Not just this lady. There are also other Nigerian, but I think I've only seen like three men actually try to enlighten other Nigerians about the situation in South Africa. That man, he has been very outspoken about what's happening in South Africa, and he has been holding his own government accountable and his own people accountable. That, guys, in Europe is not thriving because one nation or two nations are economically liberated. Europe is thriving because all the countries are economically liberated. And this is something that like South Africans are saying to the fellow Africans, like, guys, go fix your countries. This means that, guys, if Nigeria becomes economically liberated, if Nigeria, if let's say the poverty rate decreases, let's say of the population of 250 million, we say 10% of the population is poor. That's progress. That is progress. And we won't be seeing Nigerians migrating all over the world, committing all sorts of crimes. Why would you commit a crime if like your country is doing well, there are jobs, the healthcare is good, the schools are good. Like now, today, we see Africans in South Africa fighting for public schools because apparently, public schools in South Africa are better than public schools or schools in many African countries. That is not normal. That is not something that we should normalize. We should normalize fighting our governments to improve the public services, hospitals, schools, roads, infrastructure, everything. We have to normalize that. I think that's what we have to normalize. And I will repeat this, right. When South Africans say illegal immigrants must go fix their countries, it is not coming out of hatred. It is coming out of the reality that the more people are poor, the country becomes dysfunctional. As you can see in South Africa, it is slowly but surely becoming dysfunctional because now we have so many people who are poor. And when people are poor, they commit crimes because they need food, they need to survive somehow, so they commit crimes. That's what's happening in South Africa. That's what's happening in all or many African countries. So we can learn from this lady and other people who are honest about what's happening in South Africa, or Africa is a continent that we just need to be honest with one another. Let's have real conversation. Let's stop supporting propaganda against South Africa or even other African countries. Unity is not going to happen uh, uh, out of pushing propaganda. It's not going to happen. But the sooner we become honest with one another, we will see unity amongst Africans. Like, so can you imagine? Can you imagine Africans? Like, can you imagine Africans together in their own countries marching against their corrupt leaders? Can you imagine what could happen? All of us, all of us with corrupt leaders. South Africans are already fighting against their corrupt leaders. I've seen Ghanaians also. Nigerians, not so much. Not so much. Zimbabweans, not so. Oh, Zimbabweans, they know the constitution of South Africa more than the constitution of Mnangagwa. Zimbabweans, not so much. Mozambique, I don't know what's happening in Mozambique, but then there have been a lot of cases in South Africa to do with Mozambique recently, so I wonder what's happening in Mozambique. Namibia, we don't have issues. Malawi, the Malawians also are misbehaving in South Africa recently. Ethiopians, they used to be very cool until the Somalians and the Pakistanis and the Bangladesh migrated to South Africa. Overall, what I can say is that the beauty of it all is seeing other Africans realizing or acknowledging the truth instead of just pushing propaganda and Western narratives of Africa. So that's all. Bye bye.